Welcome to the Friends of FEADies podcast, brought to you by Feed Canada, our funding partner, ISED, and founding partner, the Saskatchewan Food Centre. This show is all about celebrating the incredible journeys of female entrepreneurs in the agri-food and food manufacturing sector. We're here to dish out the secrets of success and serve up a side of inspiration along the way. We are the Feed program where dreams are made, businesses are born, and the agri-food world is your oyster. Let's dine together.
Okay. Hi, Ashlyn. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I was just hoping you could introduce yourself and share a little bit about yourself for all our podcast guests.
For sure. Yeah, my name is Ashlyn Newlove. I was born and raised in Saskatchewan for the majority of my life, but 4 years ago, we moved out to Vancouver Island simply because the winters are too cold in Saskatchewan for no other reason than that. So currently reside on Vancouver Island. I'm an online nutrition coach. So my business is very flexible, and my husband, he flies to work in Alberta. So yeah, we could kind of live wherever. And that's my main gig right now. But I'm also in the process of creating my own coffee creamer too. So that's just the main things that I do. Other than that, just big into health and fitness in general. Crazy dog lady, no kids. And that's essentially sums up my life.
Yeah, no, that's great. Great intro for us to get to know you. And we definitely are going to be getting a little bit more into talking about the coffee creamer and stuff for sure, because that's definitely where our connection stems from. But yeah, before we get into it a little bit, could you just even tell us a little bit about starting your journey with founding Sweat Effect and kind of how that got started?
Yeah, so actually, I was a mortgage broker before. It's not something that you can be super passionate about, right? My heart always lies within, like I said, health, fitness, wellness. And while I was a mortgage broker, I was also on the side nutrition coaching. So I was working for a local company in Saskatchewan for a dietitian there as a nutrition coach for her business. And I'd also started the Sweat Effect as just a more affordable, easy way for people to have workouts at home. And from there, it just kind of grew. But the biggest thing with people wanting to work out is generally they want to lose weight. And without a proper diet and nutrition plan, they're just not going to be able to see the results that they wanted. And I had grown a pretty decent following on social media at the time. And more people were reaching out directly to me for coaching. They knew I had been on my own weight loss journey. I'd lost 35 pounds myself. They knew I was big into nutrition, and they knew I was coaching. And just the more that it grew, the more that I knew I needed to expand my business to mainly focus on the nutrition side of things. So that's where I went off on my own. That was back in 2018, I believe. And yeah, I just started growing my nutrition coaching company. I dropped the mortgage broker gig and focused on it full time because I mean, isn't it everybody's dream to like do something that they're passionate about full time? And yeah, it became my full source of income at the time. And that kind of brings us to today. I've helped over like 700 people like with their weight loss goals, with their health goals, not just, and it's not just weight loss, right? Everybody thinks it's great to lose weight, but it's also about all of their improved health markers and getting them more active. And yeah, it's been a crazy ride from the start to see where it's grown to now, that it can actually be a full-time business. I'm generally always booked with clients. I'll offer the odd spaces here and there. But yeah, that is kind of where the Sweat Effect came from, where it's grown to. And yeah, it's something that, I mean, there's nothing better than helping somebody reach their goals, right? You love seeing them so happy and so confident. And that's the best part of my job. So yeah, that is why it's called the Sweat Effect. It isn't reflect nutrition coaching. No, but it started out as just being, fitness, like workouts and stuff like that. And it was definitely grown into something way bigger than I ever could have imagined.
That's great. Yeah, and I just want to kind of like touch on something that you had mentioned. So you focus on health and fitness, and obviously for a lot of people that relates to weight loss, but like you said, it's not the only thing that you focus on. So kind of how do you define like wellness for your clients, and how do you like help them kind of embody that?
Well, like I said, it isn't just about weight loss, right? I have a lot of clients that'll come to me with different like PCOS, or they've got high blood pressure, diabetes, like all of those things that are centered around like if we get our weight under control, we can generally minimize the impacts of most of our health issues as it is. And what it comes down to for most people, like having a higher BMI is going to result to, some health issues. So seeing when a client messages me and they tell me like, they got off their diabetes medication, or that they saw their doctor and their blood pressure is the best that it's been in years, or, their joints feel better because they're taking the weight off of their joints. It's just like, that's a great feeling. Like people come to me because they're like, you know what? I would like to look and feel better, right? Have more energy, feel more confident, clothes shopping. That's a driving factor of why people will come to see me, but it's not the main thing in the end for me. For me, when I start seeing those health markers improve, that is the best thing. And longevity. I also work with a lot of ladies, like perimenopause and into their menopause stage. So reducing symptoms if they've been struggling with like that menopausal belly that they couldn't get rid of, uh, you know it's great to be like, wow, I am starting to see results from something that I didn't think was even possible with where I was at in my health journey right now. I myself have recently started going through perimenopause, so people can really relate to, my symptoms, what I did, and yeah. So if I can help people feel better in general, that is the ultimate thing. Like, I'm happy for you if you look awesome in a bathing suit, but I mean, if you are leading your happiest, healthiest life, that's that's where it is. That's where it's at. And with obesity and, a higher BMI being related to most of our major diseases, like let's minimize that risk, right? Let's start doing it now instead of when you're in your 50s, 60s, 70s, and now you're having to go on a health journey. One of the biggest things that some of my like a lot of my clients know this about me. My dad has terminal cancer, and he's been on chemo for the last 7 years. And when he was diagnosed, he had to go on his own on his own health journey. And he was in his late 60s at the time, a farmer from a tiny town in Saskatchewan, trying to navigate. I mean, it does help that your daughter's a nutrition coach and can help you with things, but he loves actually now digging into research and stuff like that. Does he always want to listen to my opinions on things? No, but I think that's a fantastic example of like, it's hard, right? He was in his late 60s, a farmer from Saskatchewan trying to navigate his health. Like, let's do something about it now. So that even if, right? So it's not about, oh, if you lose weight, you're not ever going to get cancer. That's not the point. But what a lot of people don't realize is when you have to go on chemotherapy, one of the largest things that its impact is your muscle mass. And if you've been neglecting that for however many years, well, what's going to happen to you when it's eating away at the little muscle mass that you have, right? You're going to become frail, your mobility becomes terrible. So it's about putting ourselves in the best position with our health that we can possibly be. So if we are faced with those things, that, yeah, like we have a great fighting chance, and that we're not trying to learn how to navigate these things in our 60s, 70s that we hadn't ever thought about in our 30s, 40s, 50s.
Hmm. Well, and I've got to say, if you can get an old Saskatchewan farmer to listen to you at all, you must be pretty persuasive. So yeah, even if it's not 100% listening to you at all is very impressive. So
I don't know if persuasive is the best way. Like I people might say that I am very opinionated, or
there's nothing wrong with being opinionated. So I do want to kind of pivot now and just start kind of talking about inspired you, or what was the process of actually going from, okay, you have this business that you've started and and I assume from how you speak about it, enjoy running and are very passionate about. And then, so what kind of led you to start thinking about making a CPG, a consumer packaged goods product?
I'm in my early 40s right now. And like I said, I've been nutrition coaching now since, geez, was it 2015 or 2016? And while I love my job, what's the exit strategy here, right? Am I going to be a 50-year-old nutrition coach, a 55-year-old nutrition coach? And while, like I said, I love helping people and love helping them reach their goals, I need an exit strategy from my current business as well. And I am super passionate. The other thing I'm passionate about is like health products, and not just health products, but like things that taste good that are going to help people reach their weight loss goals. Like I absolutely love going and being in the grocery store, looking at labels on different products and stuff that are out there and sharing those with my clients and with people on social media. It is something that like I also love doing. So I'm constantly out on the prowl for the latest and greatest thing. And I saw, you know, a spot in the market for something like this that we didn't have in Canada. And I have been thinking about this. So I've been working on it for 8 months now. But it was a year before that I had the idea and I really sat on it. And I was like, I need something for life after nutrition coaching as well. So like my husband and I talked about it in depth and I was like, this is the thing. And I really think that it's going to be a market disruptor. Like we'll talk about this today and then in 1 year I want to reflect back on this podcast and just see where things are at in a year, but I truly believe it is something that is going to be a big thing. There's nothing like it in Canada. And I, when I share it with my social media followers, they are on board. Like they're already, I'm doing actually a Kickstarter right now, and we can dig into a little bit more of the process of it because man, what I've learned and what we've done over the past 8 months has been like so eye-opening. It's been a super fun journey, but I mean, obviously with every new thing, you've got your hurdles that go with it. But I am doing a Kickstarter right now and I just launched it earlier this week and all my social media followers are getting behind it because it's like if you do a $2 donation, then you get a 40% off coupon for when the product launches in the spring. And so people love it. Like they have been waiting because I've been telling them about the process for the past 8 months and they're just like, when is this coming? Like you've been telling us about it. We're excited. We want it. And so that build up right there tells me that they want it, that they're ready for it. And yeah, so I guess that's one of the main things is that I truly think that this product is going to be amazing. And yeah, I'm willing to give up the career that I have, a job that I love to go forward with, yeah, it's going to be hard work. It's going to be late nights and there's going to be a ton of stress, but I love that grind too. And it was kind of like that was my grind back in the early days of my nutrition coaching business as well. And with anything nowadays, you can't just be a business owner. You also have to be part-time content creator. So I've also gotten into that side of things with my business as well. So I'm excited to create content for it and like go to retail stores and pitch to them. Like I'm excited for that to be the next step in my career. And I love being an entrepreneur as it is. So that hustle is, I don't know, do entrepreneurs love it? I just feel like they like the hustle. They like to see what people throw at them. And that's what this is going to be. But yeah, that is basically how I'm going from like a service-based business to a CPG.
Hmm. Yeah, that's great. And one of the things that you kind of like touched out on too is you already have an engaged audience that you're already talking to. So you're already kind of speaking to some of the people that may be or probably, well, will be your customers. So have you been getting a lot, or have you gotten any feedback from them at all or anything like that? Or is that something more once the product's a little further along the way that you'll be like looking for some feedback and stuff?
Yeah, so there's only 4 people besides myself who have actually tried the product. So, that being my husband, my father-in-law, my hairdresser, as well as the, recipe scientist at, the University of Saskatchewan at the food center that I work hand in hand with, and we just had, a really in-depth meeting, and yes, she is creating the product with me, but she is not like personal to me. So I do trust when I ask her her opinion on it. Like, what do we think? And she will give me her 100% honest opinion. She's a coffee drinker herself. She does use cream in her coffee. So it's somebody who I can, yeah, trust the opinion of that's not a family member or maybe, and I like, honestly, I have pretty thick skin. Like, when you start to build a following on social media, you start to get trolls too, and so I've been dealing with ignorant people on the internet. So it's like, really, even if my family wanted to be like, "This isn't good," they know that it wouldn't hurt my feelings. So I truly believe that they would tell me if it needed work, but, um, we've gone back and forth quite a few times with samples, and just last week settled on the one. I think this is probably our 5th round. Uh, so not only am I opinionated, but, like, I just was like, I need the perfect thing to go to market with. Like, it has to be phenomenal. I didn't want anything I didn't want anything to be slightly off with it and just, fix in future batches. I want it to be perfect, and I was okay waiting for that, which is annoying for the people who are, like, so excited and waiting for it too, but I just want the best product for them. So that's where things are at right now with it. And so, yeah, the 4 people who have tried it have said really good things.
Good, good. I'm glad. And yeah, I totally agree. I mean, you're putting all this time, this money, this effort into something. So of course, like you want to come out with like the best possible product for people. And so it's kind of that thing of like if you're gonna do it, you might as well do it well. So yeah, I totally see and respect that. So can you explain to us a bit about how you actually got in contact with the food center, heard about the food center, or like how did this, you're like, okay, coffee creamer, I know that we need something a little bit better here. How did you kind of get like the ball rolling, so to speak, for someone who's like maybe has a similar idea for a food product or something and they have no idea where to begin?
Yeah, for sure. And honestly, like, I wish I had somebody explaining this in a podcast to me back when I started. So, like I said, the idea for this product came a year prior to when I actually like started contact like was in contact with the university, which, yes, we've been working on it for 8 months, but it was probably 2 or 3 months prior to that we had started contact with each other. So a year prior, my husband and I are kind of like snowbirds. We love traveling, and I have a senior dog. He's almost 17 years old. So we can't just like go overseas for 3 weeks like we used to, right? He's like in diapers. He's like, it's just a lot. So you can't just ask somebody to just watch him. We have a Great Dane. We have a Black Lab. So we've got all these dogs. It's just like doesn't make sense to like, you know, try to find someone, well, since we don't live in Saskatchewan anymore either. Like, we just don't have the same family base out here like we did there who would take our pets. So we started driving to warmer destinations, and we would stay there for a couple months. So you're sitting in the car for 20 hours, and you're alone with your thoughts. And this is where the initial like concept of it came. And I said to my husband, driving to Mexico, I'm like, you know what? This is the thing. This is the thing that can be really great. But for a year I sat on that. And then the next year we were driving to Arizona, and I was like, I'm doing this. It is, you know what? I've been sleeping on this for this past year. Once we get to Arizona, I'm going to start contacting people to see how to get the ball rolling. So I start Googling because, like, what do? You start Googling. And I was like, you know what? I know a couple people in Saskatchewan who have used the food center to produce, they were snack foods. They both companies were snack foods, and I was like, you know what? I'll reach out to one of those girls and see what she did. And she was like, yeah, I used the food center in Saskatoon. Okay, food centers at the university. And I was like, I'll contact them. I'll see if there's one in Victoria because I live on Vancouver Island. I'll contact the one at UBC, again, close by. I'll start doing some cost references. Well, when you live on an island, everything's in slow motion here. So I contact the food developers in Victoria, and they're just like, I I'm not interested in really helping. And I was just like, all right, I'm gonna take a different route with this. Contacted UBC, and they were gonna get me a quote, and contacted the food center at the U of S, and they were also going to put together a quote for me. So I get the quote back from UBC, astronomical. Like, I want to say they were coming in close to $200,000, $180,000 to, and I was like, wow, maybe that's what it costs to start a business like this, This is going to take loans and grants at far more than the savings and whatnot that I had set aside for this. So, but then I got in contact with University of Saskatchewan, and it was much more economical. So that is how I made the choice to go with the food center at the U of S. And yeah, in talking with them, they know my friends who had created products. The products aren't in production anymore, but they were, it's so Saskatchewan. They're like, I know those people, it's that same connection. People in Saskatchewan work hard too, it's in our bones, I feel like. And they were very helpful. So I arranged a Zoom call to talk about product specifications with them, what exactly my idea was, right? I wanted a powdered coconut oil based coffee creamer. And then, yeah, got our contract in place. But the contract wasn't to start again for a couple months. So in that time, I'd stayed my couple months in Arizona, driven back home, and I believe in April is when the official contract kicked off. But the people at the food center were incredible. They're like, hey, here's a grant that you can apply for. We'll help you with it. And it's just like, wow, that's so helpful. So I could do that. And then, yeah, we just kind of got to work with it. They uh, like paired me up with my like recipe creator. Like she's not a food scientist, but she's a recipe creator. So yeah, started that, and they also hooked me up with Feed, my membership with Feed, which is kind of how we got to this point in it. And yeah, so that is where it all started. And that's the long answer to your question, right? You're like,
Mhm.
how'd you get started? Oh, it all starts with a senior dog and driving to Mexico.
Well, it's great that you're like you have all this time and kind of utilizing it for being like what's next and stuff. I'm gonna quickly just like plug the food center again a little bit more, and then we can keep moving forward. Because I've worked in food and beverage in the past, but I was only introduced to the food center a year ago when I started with Feed. So I wasn't aware that it's a nonprofit. So the food center's like main metrics are help it, like how many people can you help. It's not about making the most amount of money. And they are a lot more open to people like keeping the rights to their products and their recipes and all of that stuff. And they have clients all over the world. Like it's not just Saskatchewan, it's not just Canada. They help people internationally, and I had no idea about any of that before starting work with the food center. So it's an amazing resource that's very like central in the country and central to a lot of us. So it's just it's you don't know it's there until you know it's there, I guess.
Yeah, I also didn't know that people outside that weren't Saskatchewan residents were a part of it either, which is incredible because it like I can't say enough about the resources there because I'm also a part of the accelerator cohort that Feed has been doing. And like it's been phenomenal. Another free resource that they're offering, entrepreneurs in the you know, food and beverage development. It's I can't even explain how beneficial I found it. And also just making those connections with other people doing the exact same things that you've gone through, the ideas that we get from it, the speakers that they have in the sessions have been like I like and I know a lot of us in there are in different points of their business. Like I'm the baby of the group. My 'cause right, since I'm not to market yet, but I love that I'm doing this stuff now because a lot of people are like, they are in business and they're like, oh, I got to go back and change that. And it's like, no, I get to do this stuff right from the start of my business. So to say it's invaluable would be an understatement.
hmm And I think too, just the connections are so great, right? Because you're meeting people who've lived it. And we were talking a little bit before we started recording. I had another podcast interview earlier today, and they also went through one of our programs. And they said they made connections with one of the judges from our pitch competition, which led them to learning more about getting into Sobeys. Which led them to another accelerator that's helping them learn more about getting their product. They're a restaurant, so getting their product more ready for that CPG space. And so yeah, it's just like you can never undervalue how much those connections and everything really, really help as well.
100%. And I've even gone back. So they're great. They'll let people be a part of multiple cohorts. And I've gone back and watched previous recordings for like they had somebody on that was talking about how to get into Sobeys, how to get into the co-op. Like where are you going to get that information from anywhere else? And yeah, it was in the newsletter, so I clicked on the newsletter and watched the recording of the previous cohorts Zoom meeting with this person, and I'm like, okay, well there's a contact now for when my product goes to market to be able to reach out to that person at Sobeys or co-op or whatever and get in their local program in the grocery stores. And yeah, it definitely has been a game changer. I don't feel like, don't get me wrong, I do things blindly a lot of Googling and researching myself, but it has taken a lot of the stress off of that. And yeah, I can't say enough good things anyways.
Yeah. Well, so glad to hear it. And makes me feel good just as someone a part of like the whole process trying to help people and all that. But yeah, I mean, I so respect too, like some just to get the ball rolling. Sometimes that's all you can do is just start doing some Googling and stuff. Um, but yeah, so I'm curious about how are you balancing, you have your current business and you obviously need to continue to nurture that, but you're also trying to build something new. Can you talk a little bit about that? Like, has that been a challenge, or has it been you're just used to having a lot of balls in the air?
Yeah, like I do only take on a certain amount of clients. So as far as like my workday goes currently with that business, it's part-time, right? It's maybe only in the morning, so I do have time to dedicate to both businesses. It's every day is kind of different. Like this week has been more than most. I was on that 2-hour accelerator cohort call yesterday. This morning I was in a 45-minute meeting with my, recipe designer. We're doing the podcast now. So once we get off this, I have to go do check-ins with my clients. Mondays I dedicate to content creation, but also was start filming some content a little bit in and about today. So yeah, it just has gone from maybe working more part-time to, maybe working more full-time, and which is going to go to working more than full-time once the product gets launched. But honestly, like I'm that person who like doesn't look at work as work. I don't know if that sounds like a weird thing to say, but if I'm replying to emails or if I'm doing content creation or something like that, it's not anything that I view as like, oh, I just put in a hard work day, it's just so many hours. It's fun. It's, like the most worky type things that I do where I'm like, ugh, like, okay, so maybe I have to write an email to my mailing list. And I'm like, don't love doing that. And I've outsourced all that stuff in the past, but currently kind of where I'm at now, I just want my nutrition coaching business to kind of stay the same size that it is. And as it goes on over the next year, it'll start to scale back as I need more time for the other business. And I know people are going to be very sad to hear that. I have clients who like are long-term clients and clients like who, come back every once in a while just to do a little like refresh with me. But yeah, that's the whole thing is to go all in with my creamer business and to really grow that and make it something that, you know, I don't even think that I can imagine at this point.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you something quickly too that came up. Did you say it's a powdered product? Is that correct? Or is that just how it's developed?
Yeah, it's a powdered product, so it will be shelf stable. Like comes in a bag that you'll keep in your pantry, so you can travel with it. And yeah, the reason why I wanted a powdered product as opposed to a liquid, it's easier. Expiration date is longer, right? Like you'll be able. It should have a year long expiration date on it once we finish the shelf life stability testing. It, like I said, is easier to carry around. You go camping, you're jumping on a plane somewhere, you're driving to Mexico, you can just, you've always got your creamer, right? It's always there. And there's a lot of liquid creamers out there, it's got to be different. It's got to be something, yeah, new. With the bottles are more expensive than bags. Like there's a lot of things that played a role in why I chose what I chose. Um, but it needs to be different to for people to choose it over something else. And yeah, like some of the ingredients that I've included in it, you won't find in any other liquid or powdered cream. When people think powdered, I think they think of Coffee Mate. It's not Coffee Mate. It's delicious. It's creamy. Like there'll be like just a plain cream flavor, but also like my second one is like a vanilla ice cream is going to be the flavor for that one. So like delicious, like indulgent tasting, but it's also only 25 calories. And that's the other thing. I mean, you put a tablespoon, a half and half if you're a person. So something that I should preface with. It isn't dairy free. It's non-dairy because it does include a caseinate in it. So a lot of people can still have caseinate, but I believe, don't quote me on this right now because I don't have the data in front of me. I believe lactose free people can still have caseinate and they won't poop their pants. I believe that is what will happen. So I think it's okay for that. But if you are dairy free, unfortunately, it is not the product for you. But it, like, that's all on the label. You would know
Mm.
if you can't have a caseinate. Anyways, there is not a product out there that includes some of the ingredients that I've chosen to go with. And one of the questions that I get from a lot of people is, well, why is it healthier? Like just because it's a coconut oil base? And it's like, no, that's not what makes it healthier. One, the fact that it's so calorie friendly. Like when you're on your weight loss journey, the worst thing that people like that anyone can do is like cut out delicious tasting things. And that's what I always see people do. There's like, I can't have anything that tastes good because I'm trying to lose weight. And then how do you think that fares? When you don't have anything that tastes good in your diet, then you just end up quitting because it sucks. So I was like, one, it needs to be delicious tasting. So whether you're on your weight loss journey or not, whether, you want to maintain your weight, whether you're just a person who wants something with some different, better ingredients in it, those are the people that it's for, right? This is like my 70-some-year-old father who's a Saskatchewan farmer is not going to be shopping for it in the grocery store. It like, is he going to drink it because it's mine? Obviously, he's not my target demographic. So it's people that care about their health, people that are willing to invest in their health, right? Everybody else is just, they don't care what they're drinking. People that don't, aren't interested in their health, they're grabbing, full fat creamer out of there and they don't care that they've just poured 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 calories into their cup of coffee that they're drinking. This isn't the product for them. This is for people who want a health conscious approach to things. The other thing that I did differently with it that nobody else out there is it has fiber in it. And what a lot of people don't know about fiber is it actually keeps you feeling fuller longer. And what happens when you're feeling fuller? You're not going to indulge in as many calories, right? It's easier to stay within your maintenance calories, within your calorie deficit calories, whether, you're looking for fat loss or maintaining your weight or whatever it is. But fiber is, everybody talks about protein, right? Protein, protein, protein. And you open up any social media app and that's all any of the wellness people talk about. Hardly any people talk about fiber and how good it is for you. 90% of my clients struggle reaching their fiber intake. And yeah, so this is going to help them. People are like, is it going to be a protein coffee creamer? No, just if you want protein in your coffee, put a protein shake in it. Like, that's a simple, like we're doing something that's different and nothing out there is going to be able to help people in this way. And yeah, in the test samples that I've had, you drink a cup of coffee and you're like, yeah, I do feel satisfied. Like literally it's got 3 grams of fiber in it. And I can tell even after 1 cup, like people are supposed to be getting in 25 grams of fiber a day. And literally, I bet you less than 5 of my clients do that on a consistent basis. That's how much people struggle with it. So yeah, it's going to help them. And yeah, it is for people who are health conscious and they like the idea of that. So is it for everyone? Absolutely not. Anybody that says that their product is for everyone is lying because then you haven't done your market analysis correctly. But yeah, I'm very specific to who my demographic is.
So, obviously there's a lot of question marks about like the future with just figuring out the exact launch date with all the testing and everything for the product. But, let's look ahead a few months and assume it's ready to go. Do you kind of know what your next steps are going to be in terms of the actual launch? Do you have any of that stuff like planned out yet? Or is that just, it's part of the process you're still working through?
No, I do actually know kind of where I'm going with the launch. Right now, the idea is to have 6,000 to 10,000 bags made in the pilot plant at the U of S. And with that, some of them will be the plain flavor, some will be the vanilla flavor. I'm going to be doing starting off with direct to consumer and be doing that on Amazon. So in my research on that it will be like if you're a Prime member, it'll be Prime eligible. So right, Prime members get free shipping on things, and that is the best. Like that was another headache because I was like, well, maybe I can't even do direct to consumer because Canada Post shipping is outrageous. Like I'm talking the cost on one of those bags of creamer would have literally been $25 to send one bag, and that is insane. So I decided to go the Amazon route. It's not like it's less than $25, but at least it leaves a bit of leftover money. You're not making your million selling a product like this on Amazon, but it's my way to get it out there and get it into the hands of people while I can then work on getting into stores and going and yeah, sampling products to managers at different locations, like Sobeys and Co-op, Thrifties, which is a Sobeys like chain. That's what we have here on the island. Just like going out and meeting people. So it'll just like be boots on the ground. Meeting people, letting them taste the product, see if they want to put it on their shelves in their local program. I'll also, smaller chains too, supplement stores or health food stores or anything like that. Unfortunately, with doing it at the pilot plant, I can't sell in Whole Foods, so that'll be off the list until I go to a larger scale production facility. It's just they certify with certain places and they don't certify with Whole Foods. So that's the only thing that they told me where I couldn't be able to retail it at, but that'd be on the list someday. And yeah, so that's the plan for when we launch. It'll be on Amazon as soon as I can get it on there. It's looking spring of 2025. Would I love it to be earlier? Obviously, we just got to figure out this glitch with this, 3,000 kgs of coconut oil powder mix. So, yeah, that's the plan for everything. And I'm excited and nervous and, all those good feelings when it comes to releasing something. So, yeah, that's where it's at.
Amazing. Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. I'm very excited for you, and I think your enthusiasm with what you're doing is infectious, and I think that will really help you get more people to really be invested and buy in. So yeah, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you to our listeners for indulging your entrepreneurial appetite with this episode of Friends of FEADies, brought to you by Feed Canada, our funding partner ISET, and founding partner, the Saskatchewan Food Centre. If anything we have discussed today has ignited an entrepreneurial fire within you, but you're not quite sure how to get started, or you're craving mentorship and coaching to help grow your business, please reach out to us at feed.ca. That's FEAD.ca. Connect with us on social media. We're sprinkled all over the digital landscape, and our team is ready to provide the mentorship and coaching you need to flourish. At Feed, we're here to empower women in the agri-food industry, so don't hesitate to reach out to us to join our vibrant community of foodpreneurs. Until next time, bake those dreams into reality, stay hungry for success, and continue to nourish your entrepreneurial spirit with Feed. Bon appetit.